So I'm going to introduce our panelists, or we're going to really just welcome them all out right now. So can you give it up for my amazing panelists?
Thank you.
All right, so right to the right of me, I have Byron Wright. He's currently the Senior Director of A&R at Epic Records. And he has a long list of things that he's accomplished over the years, including, but not limited to, working with BME Recordings and So Death back in the day, just starting off. Previously the director at BMI. And he has also worked with Warner Chappell as an A&R as well. So y'all give it up for my man, B. Wright. Yeah. And next up, we got Rico Ruth here. Yes, he is the CEO of Adella Thomas Management. He's known for working or managing artists like producers like Sunny Digital, previously Metro Boomin. Beats is here in the building right now, and he was previously the president of Block Entertainment. His future plans include movie production, branding, and strategic marketing, and he's just the guy that you're going to see making a lot of moves all the time, so y'all give it up for Rico. Next up, I have D. Rushing. I just met him today, but I know that I've seen all of the amazing work that he's done. He is the youngest on our panel, and he is making moves in the business. Currently a student in AUC. He's a celebrity wardrobe stylist, so he's worked with the likes of Growing Up Hip Hop, Loving Hip Hop, Black Ink Crew, with Sky, Jacquees, Instagram influencer Ari, and yeah, the list goes on. So y'all give it up for D. Rushing. Last but not least, we have Barry Johnson, Fab 5 Entertainment, previously currently since the 80s. So they basically joined their partnership. Look at him. Yes, you could cheer. Previously, Fab 5 Entertainment, but you guys joined forces for since the 80s. So he manages the likes of Jid and I can't pronounce her name, but I really love her music. Neomza, yes, I love her music. So they're doing some really amazing things with since the 80s. It's him, Zeke, and Key who manages 21. So shout out to Barry, and we're gonna get more into the story as we get into this panel. Tell me the first moment that you got your start in the business, whatever that moment. I pretty much know all of your stories for the most part, but what was the very first moment you were like, okay, I can see myself doing this?
I started out like everybody else, wanted to be a rapper. So I started rapping.
I saw that.
I was rapping, I thought I was gonna make it. And I started telling myself like, nah, I don't think I really wanna do this. So then I started trying to figure out how I was gonna still find my love for music and how I was gonna put myself into it. So I started going around asking questions, for real. I met this lady, I was working at Johnny Carino's. It was this restaurant. I'm not really a worker. I don't really like working for other people, so I ended up meeting this lady. I was reading XXL magazine, and it was like Santosa Foster. I don't know, some of y'all may know Santosa. No? Yeah, and then she was working at my job, so I was basically like, yo, are you Santosa Foster that writes what he said? And she was like, shh. She was like, that's my other job. I was like, but that means there can only be one Santosa Foster. So I started linking with her, we started talking, and she started giving me tips. I knew Coach K for like a very long time. I went to school with Slick Puller, so I used to be around Jeezy back in the day a lot. So Coach K kind of like used to coach me on what to do, and that was kind of like my entryway of like, okay, I'm gonna find my way through this business on my end.
Got you. D. Rushing?
Well, I just started by, I always loved fashion. Everything I've done from high school to elementary, I always done myself on homecoming proms. So down here, I just knew I had to get straight to it. Just network myself to the point.
Gotcha. And you're a sophomore currently, but your first like big celebrity client was your freshman year, like when you first got here.
Yes, she used to be on the TV show Hip Hop last season, and she was actually my first client for everything. She took me to the BET Awards. She took me to set was my first time with her. My first music video was her. So
how did you meet her?
I actually snuck into a club, and I just went to her. I was like, I want to be a wardrobe stylist. And so at first it took me a minute to actually start doing what I was doing, but to know her and we know each other, it just became like, oh, it's just style for episode, the reunion, and then this one after that.
And the relationship, I love it. All right, Rico. So take us back to the record store.
Yeah. So actually, I started at Morehouse. I graduated from Morehouse in '95. I probably would have born today. So I graduated. Mom was like, "Hey, look, Rico, you gotta actually work now." So I started working at a record store. Actually, Byron worked for me too. Like at the record store, Peppermint Music was the store. We had stores in like all the malls, Green Broadway, South DeKalb. And then at this record store, I started reading like the liner notes. I started reading Billboard magazine. And a lot of influential guys were coming through the store. So like the record stores were kind of like ground zero for all the music that was breaking in Atlanta. So like Trillville, Lil Scrappy, they were bringing their stuff. Bone Crusher. Block came through there. He had this group, was working with Boys in the Hood, which launched on Jeezy. Block said, "Hey, look, Rico, I want you to work with me and Boys in the Hood." Started working with Block, managing Boys in the Hood. We had success with them boys. You know, Jeezy blew up. Then after Boys in the Hood, Young Jock, Gorilla Zoe. And then Zoe started what I'm doing now. I started working with producers. So it started with Sunny Digital. Sunny led me to Metro, to B Weezy, D Rich, iBeats. Just a short, Bobby Johnson, but that's the short version of it.
I appreciate it. All right. That's all you know.
Well, I'm going to start by saying my entry into the music business was simply based on the fact that I grew up around it. I'm from Atlanta. It was in my backyard. You know, I was exposed to so much early. My first internship was in high school in the 12th grade at So Def. I just was always showing up to events, just being active and just putting myself in front of the right people. But I would say it was a combination of things. It was just, you know, showing up and like Rico said, I was at Peppermint Music in Greenbrier Mall, meeting a lot of people in the 11th and 12th grade. Everybody came to the record store, and I used that as a platform to just get my name out there. And anybody that I could meet, you know, I just provided, you know, as much help as I could while I was there. And then I also went on to intern with Lil Jon in college, and I started a college organization similar to what you guys are doing here at West Georgia in Carrollton. I had entertainment attorneys and folks come to West Georgia to speak to me and my peers. And I think it was around the time after I graduated from college, I left a full-time job and took a consultant position at the time. When I first joined BMI, I was a consultant. I was working for the city of Atlanta, and I met Catherine Bruton, my former boss, at a music conference. And she didn't have a position open available yet, but I knew that she was somebody that I wanted to stay in contact with. And she ended up reaching out to me, you know, a few months later and said, "I don't have a full-time position, but if you want to come on and, you know, take a chance." You know, that's basically what I did. I took a chance. I left City Hall. I was at the Cultural Affairs office. I told them that, you know, I'm gonna leave, and that's what I did. I left a full-time position and went to work at BMI, and that was kind of the platform for my career. And the reason why I'm sitting here in front of you guys today is just because, you know, that chance I took. Some people would have looked at it as, she didn't even promise me a job after the 6-month consultancy. That's how, you know, much of a chance it was. But from there, I went to Warner Chappell, and today, Senior Director A&R at Epic Records, and I'm still going. Glad to be here in front of you guys, and hopefully you guys can benefit from all of us being here today.
Sure they can. So the one thing that I will say, and I'm happy that you ended with that, is that all of you, from researching your stories and just seeing you grow and develop as executives, young executives, is that you took a risk. At some point in your career, you took some sort of risk. You was working at a pizza spot. You decided to leave Atlanta and go to Pittsburgh, right, Barry?
Yeah.
And then
that's What's wrong with that version?
That's wrong with that? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, regardless, something happened to where you had to make a decision and take a risk. And I think that's what everybody has proven. You decided to sneak into a club and, you know, it worked out in your favor, you know? So I think that that's the biggest thing you can take away from just the introductions that we have here today. But let's get into the discussion, which is branding. Obviously, all of you work in some capacity where you are working closely with talent, and you're working with their image, you're working with the type of corporations and other companies that they may work with, you're working on their sound, what that looks like, and it has to all coincide with an image. So let's start with how to manage a brand. Because to me, I mean, I manage an artist as well, and to me that's such a tricky thing, because at the end of the day, that's them, you know, Jordan Carter, that's his brand, and Sammy Approved has her own brand. So for you guys, being that you work with somebody like a Jid who's very much himself, you know what I mean, how do you manage a brand, essentially?
Managing brands is really about being self-aware. You know what I'm saying? Knowing who you are, knowing what you're trying to do. I mean, for people like me and you who kind of like manage artists, and we are our own personalities and our own, you also got to find somebody that, with an artist that also supports you. You know what I'm saying? JID, Herb Gang, Hardo, Neonza, they all support our vision because they understand the bigger we get, you know what I'm saying, the bigger they get. And honestly, like, my relationships before I even met them was already built. So they benefited from my relationships. In the beginning, they were just, they were just artists on come up. My relationships were just being me, you know, traveling the world, you know, sleeping couch to couch, talking to everybody, and actually finding the talent and able to put it together, you know, was part of the brand. Jid is really good at social media, right? So I don't mess with him when it comes to social media because he does a really great job with it. Me, on the other hand, I'm kind of like in between of hating it and liking it because it's so fake, but at the same time, like, you kind of need it. So in terms of just, you have to just be self-aware, like, and that's kind of like my whole thing. My whole thing is, what are you trying to accomplish? What's your target market? You know what I'm saying? It's like any product, you know what I'm saying? Because your brand is just a product of, you know what I'm saying, who you are at the end of the day. So if you can't really, sometimes I'll be artists and they don't know who their demographics is. I'll be like, bro, some folks just ain't gonna listen to you, you know what I'm saying? You may get them later on, but who are we reaching for right now? So those are the most important things to me, is like self-awareness. It's in anything you do. I don't care if you're trying to be in the music industry, I don't care what your job is, your career. If you're not really self-aware, you can't really build a brand. And it's about knowing your strengths and catering to your strengths and understanding that your weaknesses can be fulfilled with other things and other people, you know what I'm saying? So like, you can't be great at everything. So you just gotta be self-aware and know yourself. And that's like a very important part to building your brand.
Yeah, I agree with that. You think that's it?
I was just gonna say, like, just being consistent and you know, what you put out there. How many people are looking to be executives or managers or business on the business side? Okay, a lot of you. So it's really got to look at it as you're putting out there. Like, Instagram really should be like your resume as kind of such. I mean, you don't want to put out too much that's crazy, you know? Like, you have to be very specific with what you're posting and putting out there, because these companies and people look at that. People you don't think are looking at your profile or looking at your profile. So, you know, you want to have fun with it and show people who you are and show your personality, but at the same time, you want to be, you know, kind of aware that this is also people judging me based on stuff that I'm posting out there on Instagram. And I always really think about, you know, what I'm posting on Instagram. I don't really post that much, but when I do put something out there, I kind of really think about what I'm saying and how I'm saying it and what this means for my brand and my image. And, you know, that's just what I want.
I want to add to that too. So like when you're building a brand too, also, you want to look at your end goal, like where you want to go, and every decision you make should be based on, does this add to my brand or does it take away to my brand where I want to go? And if you ask those questions, like, I know exactly where I want to be. So when someone says, hey, can you manage this person? I'm like, I'm not trying to manage there, and I'm trying to build my own company. You know, like I'm trying to work with artists or producers that is assigned to me. So then once I know that, then it defines, if I have definite this purpose, then I know exactly which way to go. So once you know your purpose, then you can, it's really easy for me, like when someone comes and like, well, I have this 35-year-old producer, and I don't like old producers, so that's like, I'm not gonna do it. There's no disrespect. Like there's still money out there for them, but you know, like if guys who had hits, I generally don't work with producers who had hits. So it's just like I know my purpose and I know who I want to work with. We had this discussion today with IBs, is like I want to work with these big producers. I'm like, but look, let's find the producers, the next producer. Everybody wants to work with 21 Savage Drake or whatever. Let's find the next producer, the next artist, and let's come up with that artist. So once you know your purpose and you're definite with that, then it's a real easy conversation. I have a 20-month-old, so it's like if I can't leave it to her, I don't want to do it. You know, so those things.
So yeah, just stay in your lane. That's basically what you're saying. Stay in your lane. I appreciate that. I think you spoke to it a little bit, Byron, but I'm interested to know for you all that are intentional with your posts, but how do you balance having your own brand? Barry, you're entertaining. I feel like I just recently started following you on social media, but y'all all have your own personalities, and I'm sure even outside of this panel, you see some of that, right? So how do you, without being too open and too we overshare sometimes. It's just social media. People pull out their phones at any site of anything happening. So how do you balance your own social media presence or managing your own brand and your client's brand?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't really even think I'm in the music industry. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really don't care. So it's like but it's kind of like, that kind of is like part of my brand. Like, but it's not really a brand to me. It's just kind of the truth. I really just don't care. Like, I'm not trying to impress nobody. I don't want to work for nobody. So you're not gonna hire me anyway because I don't want to work for you. Like, so it's never gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm gonna do what I want to do, and that's what got me to where I'm at. That's what got me to Sincethe80s. That's what got me to Mac Miller. That's how I found Travis Scott. That's how I got to JID, Earth Gang. I'm gonna do whatever I want to do. I do not suggest that everybody do whatever they want to do. It don't always work out for everybody. But I'm just a different human being. I'm gonna do what I want to do, and that's just not even. I'm not thinking about it. I'm gonna have fun in the process. I'm gonna always be respectful to others when necessary, and I'm just gonna be me. And it's just you can't really, you know what I'm saying? You can't get away with it. You gotta be yourself. So that's I don't even know if I'm managing. I'm just really being myself.
Dioshan, I'm curious to know your presence on social media, and also just the question of. Because especially when it comes to like what I wear personally, that's why I've never looked for a stylist or asked for a stylist. I'm like, I really like to dress myself. But then wanting to work with a particular person, be it an influencer or whoever, how do you implement your vision for them with their own?
Well, like most of the time they just come to me like I need a vision. So the ball is in my court. I send them pictures, videos, and I get their approval. Being Wordle is very sketchy because you cannot ruin their image. I gotta make sure whatever she's performing, she dance, her chest don't come out. Like it's small things like that that will really mess up my career if I don't focus. So that's why I just don't even think about me. Like I'll go to a shoot in like a whole sweatsuit, but I'll make sure every single thing that the client needs. Because like my focus is not really on me. But as far as Instagram, I'm still learning to separate Instagram because I'm in school and all that, but I make sure that I am not embarrassing myself on Instagram, especially now on my store that I have close friends, so only certain friends can see certain things, but even then I'm not posting wild posts on Instagram.
Okay, so he's at Clark. He's talking to Clark. So what are some things to keep in mind for managing in general? Because I guess it's difficult to talk about managing the brand when a lot of your talent is pretty much doing it themselves. But what are some things to keep in mind? Like, is there a blueprint for management? Rico, you've worked with the likes of, like I said, Metro to Sunny currently, and they're super producers. What is it like? What was it like getting them to that point, and like cultivating their careers?
I would say, like, I was trying to be true to themselves, like Barry said, and that sounds like so easy, right? But you'll see so many times, like, artists and clients, they'll just take the check, and I'm like, it's not, like, if you're talking about styling, like I'm saying, if you don't like the outfit, do not wear it. I tell them from the beginning, don't even put it on. If you know you don't like it, if you have an inkling that you don't like it, do not put it on. Because once you take this picture and it goes up, you can't get that back. You know, you can tell them to take it down, but somebody's going to screenshot or whatever. Like, if you don't like a position or a pose they ask you to do, don't do it. So just do it. And I try to align them with brands that they naturally work with. Like, so say for example, I said this another time, but like if you know you like Coke, don't do a deal with Pepsi. You know, it's just real simple. Like if you know you don't use like Ableton, you use Fruity Loops, do the deal with Fruity Loops. Even though Fruity Loops doesn't really do deals, just align yourself with brands so you won't get caught up in a thing where like, oh man, he wore these shoes, he don't even like those shoes, but he took the deal because they gave him money. Now he has to take the post or hide the post, you know, like delete that post because you in a contract with another brand. So I always say align yourselves with brands that you actually use and like, so it's a natural extension of yourself. And once you know that, and once it's a natural extension of yourself, you're not like hiding, you don't have to like, you know, you might be in the club, like certain things you might not want people to see. You don't have to do it because everybody knows Sonny Digital Smoke, so he aligns himself with brands that, you know, showcase that. And you generally can't go wrong like when you show your work. Now we see artists get in trouble because now, and just not just artists, just like the average person, they want to, like you said, overshare, and they want to, you get caught up in like attention. And so like, there's attention, there's good attention, there's bad attention. Yeah, people liking your pictures, but this is putting you in a position where now you're compromising your integrity, you know, or you're compromising a situation like actually your security. Like if you put money up and you put your location, and you're like, hey, how did they know? How did they come rob me? Like, bro, you just put it up into the studio and you had like all this money. It's like, it's common sense, you know what I'm saying? Somebody might be outside.
Right.
To piggyback on what he said, managing the artist brand is a little different, and just managing them at the end, because at the end of the day, like, I got a text message from G like one morning, and it was honestly the most about to ruin my career shit I've ever read. And I was kind of like, bro, like, why would you post that? You know what I'm saying? It was crazy. And he was like, I'm just sitting tired. I'm like, bro, why would you like, think about what you're about to post. And honestly, what it is just, as an artist, I think it's actually it's difficult for them because they are the ones in the forefront all the time. Like, they the ones who catch the scrutiny, they're the ones who they're gonna talk about them. And when you play the internet, you got to also deal with the internet backlash. And it wasn't even really about the internet, it was more so about, you know, fans at this show. And I was like, it was kind of one of those things like, I mean, are you willing to deal with the repercussions of posting this? Because if you are, then be you. You know what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day, I'm like, I mean, my whole attitude is like, I don't care neither. So post it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're willing to deal with the repercussions, but like, don't do something and then come to me for me to fix it. Because I'm not gonna try to fix it because we've already talked about it before you did it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, for me, always be aware, either you're playing a short game or you're playing a long game, you know what I'm saying? So like, for me, it's like, are we here for 5 to 10 years or are we here for 2 years? You can do your 6ix9ine thing. You can really do that. And you can just go real hardcore with it. But you know, we see where that got him, you know what I'm saying? Or you can play the long ball. And sometimes with the internet, it's just like, especially with the kids, it kind of got them all confused for real. So it's kind of like juggling between the two. But you know, I think as long as you're being true to your art and you have somebody that's going to actually, you know, balance it with you, you'll be fine, for real.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I also think, I mean, you see something as simple as Kodak Black going on live for that one moment to say that one particular thing, and it sent everybody over the edge.
Everybody's sensitive though.
That's true, but at the same time, that's the reality.
You can make the choice, but you can't always control the consequences.
I don't think what Kodak probably said was, it wasn't, to me, it wasn't as bad as everybody tried to make it be. But at the same time, rather somebody just passed and somebody's widow is grieving, it's kind of like, come on, bro, that's kind of insensitive. So, yeah, his timing was just off. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think he was really being disrespectful. I think Kodak just sometimes just say shit. You know what I'm saying? He really don't know. He just say it. He don't even be thinking about it. So
yeah, I didn't really mean to turn it into a Kodak moment, but you know. I'm happy I love him. I didn't necessarily agree with it personally. It definitely was a timing thing. And I agree with you, Barry, that people are extremely sensitive. But it's the point in that was that you do one thing and you could be like blacklisted. Blackballed. That's the same thing with the industry. Like we've seen it. I've seen people even from the behind the scenes part, you know, you do one thing wrong with one person, and that could be like, you know, it's word of mouth. Outside of just working with them, like it's still, we know it's a business. How do you separate the two? Like, do you put it in writing?
No, I don't separate it.
You don't separate it?
No, I mean, because everybody I work with is family. I mean, honestly, I don't really work with you if I don't really feel like we can't be family. Like, if I can't really have if I can't bring you to my house for real, and I don't ever want you to come back to my house, like, I can't even really rock with you like that. That's why I say it's about being very self-aware. I have to be very self-aware of the type of person I am, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, and I'm not saying something in the future we won't, some of my artists I may not work with in the future. I mean, I might have a Rico Brooks situation, you know what I'm saying? But which is cool. I'm just gonna still cut that check, but at the same time, like, things do change. People do grow, things do change, but at the same time, it's like, I can't work with you unless we family. So I don't even really, I'm just too involved for me to even work with people that I can't be that involved with. So that's kind of, I don't really separate the two.
I definitely separate the two just from my Jason. So like in my like blood makes you relatives, right? But bonds make you family, right? So, but I have to realize, like, I'm 47, right? I honestly don't want to do what 19 and 20-year-olds want to do. So I'm not in the studio with you when you smoke. If they do smoke weed, I'm not like drinking with you. Because it seems like a level of respect when you start like chasing girls with your clients. I've seen it happen, like the guys try to be cool. You know, next thing you know, like, then something happens like, damn, bro, you were supposed to be the road manager, but you smoking on the road, now you got pulled over by the police and you drunk and you gotta explain to the police that somebody can't be high when the police pull you over. Somebody gotta be like, officer, you know, like, we're good, like, I'm not drinking right here, what's the issue? Okay, cool, y'all go ahead. But like, if you don't separate them, like, and you will wake up one day and realize, like, these guys are not your friends, you know what I'm saying? Like it's a business relationship at the end of the day. And I love all my clients because I'm in a more of a, like I'm a little older than them, so I'm like in a role, but I'm not like a fatherly role, but maybe like the uncle role, but like I know these guys are not my family, so if I don't give them what they need or what they want, even if you give me your all, sometimes it's still not enough. And I'm fine with that. Sometimes I know that my best is not enough, and I'm totally fine with that because I know I gave my all, that's why I can sleep good at night. But you wake up one day and realize, hey, look, this is a business relationship. If you don't realize that, one day you will.
Right.
There's been, I try not to mix it at all, but being that I'm always around, then like 24/7, dressing room, shopping, all like that, it's very hard not to become close to the client. But then at the end of the day, if you hit me up, just sound that's what I'm coming to do. On the set, I'm not gonna drink with you, but I mean, hit me on a beyond, I'm gonna be on set, then whatever. But it can be very hard when you work with somebody 24/7 for you not to get attached to them, because I have a client that doesn't have another client, and you can't go out one of them, they're gonna be like, wait a minute, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's kind of like you gotta really put yourself out at a certain time, like, okay, I can go with you here, but I can't do this, you know what I mean?
I think at the end of the day, it's boundaries. It's gotta be boundaries. I've managed managed my artists who I've known since I was in high school, and we were friends first, so. We've definitely, through this brief journey of managing him, I've learned the same thing, that you have to really create and establish boundaries, because at the end of the day, we're trying to make money from this. It's a little bit more than that. That's why even with this panel, we're talking about a brand or an image, or like, you know, being a manager and like kind of managing that brand is a very touchy subject, in my opinion, to do those things. But I appreciate your answer.
I want to add something. What you said, like the attachment is definitely there. Like, so if you do this right, if you do it right, like when we did it with Job, or we did it with Metro, like, you're gonna be with your client more than you're gonna be with your family. If you do it right, you know what I'm saying?
Thanks.
So if you do it right, you're gonna be with them. So you may end up like realizing like, damn, I don't even like this dude. I don't even want to see him, right now. Because we were on the road for like 3 months, right? And I learned that you have to put breaks and you have to put, just like you schedule your work, you gotta schedule your fun too. You gotta schedule the breaks. Because I learned just in general, just when you're on the road with someone like over like 10 days or 9 or 10 days, you really don't want to see them no more. You're like, I need to see somebody else's faces there. So like, people are like, why are you always talking to different people when you're on the road? Like, 'cause I don't want to talk to these dudes every day. You know what I'm saying? I know everything about them. So if you do it, so I want to say, so like, and like when there's a breakup, so like, I remember like the first time it was like, you get fired, you go home, I cry that weekend, and my mom said, hey, look, Monday morning, you better be back there and getting that. So I don't want you to misunderstand, like, that there is definitely an attachment. And it's hard not to have an attachment with someone that you've been around so long, you know what I'm saying? But then you just like wake up and you're like, hey look, life goes on, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't tour my guys like that. So I'm saying, I guess I get a break. I'm not touring. I'm not around my artists every day, so I don't know. Maybe that's why when we get together, it's like they just happy to see me. I'm like their daddy for real. Like, so I'm just like, come here and do my dadly duties, and then I go to the crib for real. Like, I don't hang around my artists like that. That's different. I'm not like that. That's why it's probably different for us.
So let's talk about putting in the time. All of you have put in probably countless hours over the years just trying to get it, even when you didn't really know what you were doing, when you were figuring it out. And maybe you're just now seeing the fruits of your labor. So I want to know, how did you maintain during the process or the struggle? Like most of you, or some of you in this room, are in school right now, and you got midterms, you got finals, you're going through all the ups and downs of being a student, and you here at this panel, so you're serious about your career. So I know there's always like a struggle or process. Maybe you don't have family support, so you're doing a lot of it on your own. I want to ask y'all, through those, recall a time, just saying you don't have to talk about it, but in your mind, how did you maintain through that process and that struggle?
I think the biggest question is, with the show of hands, how many of y'all in here love music? How many of y'all do it for $0? I mean, that's the question right there. I mean, like, you gotta have a love for it. And when you love something, you ain't never really working for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just how life is. When you actually truly find your calling, and it's what you love, you don't ever really feel like you're working, and the goal never seems like it's unattainable. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I mean, for me personally, I've been doing this since I was 14. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember when I first got my first check from Warner Brothers Music for Wiz Khalifa, I thought we was on. And I realized, like, oh, they keep paying us. You know what I'm saying? So like, it was just a love for it. You know what I'm saying? There was a lot of hurdles. It was a lot of sleeping on couches. There was a lot of other things that went on with trying to maintain. There's a lot of maintaining going on. And I mean, you just gotta love it and just understand that, like, I always say, you gotta love it, you gotta be dedicated, and you gotta be persistent all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just got to. And like, that's the only way you make it in the music business. I see a lot of times, I see a lot of young people like Rico we were talking about that, like Rico was just saying, like, everybody wanna get a record with Drake. Like, bro, like, do you actually understand Drake's story? How Drake was, you know what I'm saying, interning, was in the back, working at high beats, how nobody cared about Drake, nobody thought Drake was gonna be anything, everybody looked past Drake, and then all of a sudden now he's the biggest thing in music. Like, that took years. It took confidence, it took that man really believing in himself to stay like that. So for me, it's just like, if you don't love something, you kind of see it, or you see people changing their opinions every day about it. You know what I'm saying? I watch a lot of posts that just be like, oh man, I was doing this, and then the next day they doing this. I'm like, bro, I can't really trust you, bro. Last week you was just managing, now you got cars for sale, like bro, what's good with you? I can't really take you serious then, you know what I'm saying? I look for the consistency in who you are as a human being, and that's just how I go.
I agree with that. D-Russian, I'm curious to know your perspective, just because you, in the heat of it all, you were a student. I was the same way while I was in college at Howard.
But you was doing it, Sammy.
I appreciate you. Thank you in the building. Thank you. You're in it right now though, like, so I'm sure you can relate more to everybody in the audience right now.
Yeah, going to Clark Atlanta, I love going to school, but it can get hard with because styling is just not picking out outfit and putting on. Like we have to go to a fitting, we have to make sure it fits, we have to go run back, make sure the size is right. So it's a lot, and there have been times where I have to skip class to go. Like I had a friend put me on an Adidas on my shoulder and skip class. And that's just what it is. But I make sure that I get my work done. I make sure that I make sure someone's taking notes. I make sure people sign me in. I make sure that all my notes are in the row before I go to.
Like I've been there too. That's why I'm like, tell your story, okay? Like you have to do what you have to do to get there.
Exactly. Like he said, if you love it, it's not going. Like it's not work. There's been plenty of times that I went to shoots and I've been putting more money into the client. Like I said, when I worked with somebody, the lady from Love and Hip Hop, I put in more money than she ever put in my pocket, and that was just because I love what I'm doing. If you go on the red carpet, you gonna say I'm gonna be styled by D-Russian. I'm not finna put these cheap shoes on that you picked out. I'm gonna spend my money to make sure my stuff is right. I don't really care about what you got on me.
Right.
So, but like I said, school is definitely, there has been times that I'm like, no, I'm leaving. I just was on the red. I just did May Fashion Mom Day, I'm gone. But it's not, my grandma always reminds me, having your paper behind is a big thing. So just as long as you love what you do, it's not working.
I want to add to that, like as a manager or just any like part of the music business or any business, you got to put in the sweat equity. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you can't see the rewards, and sometimes you don't see the results, but just know that there are no losses in life, only lessons. So, but one of the worst things that can happen to you in your lifetime is when you're presented with an opportunity and you're not prepared. You know, so if you're an engineer, right, but you intern at Patchwork and it's raining outside, but the engineer can't make it, they say, what's your name? Hey Jada, you up next. And you're like, oh man, I should have been paying attention in class. Or you're like, no, I got it from here. And if you step up, that other engineer may be out of a job, you know what I'm saying? Because you stepped up. Like, my brother, he washed my cars, like, so, and I have another spot. He was over there washing cars, and then he was like, when my friends came over, he was like, can I wash your car? And he was like, man, the stuff at the other house, I just pulled off, like, bro, you ain't even ready. I would have stuff in every house. So, like, whatever you're doing, be prepared for the opportunity which is presented to you. If someone say, hey, I need beats tonight, you should be able to go on your phone and access your beats in a Dropbox folder, put some links together, and send it out right then and there. Because the opportunity of a lifetime only lasts for the lifetime of the opportunity.
That is poetic. That was very poetic. That's beautiful. Yeah. That's true. That's beautiful.
Y'all look at me like, okay, what's me? So my next question, well, my theme for the year personally was to elevate and expand my brand. And you know, you may reach a certain point in your career, like, you know, for you, D-Russian, you talked about the Adidas experience that you were able to work on that ad campaign. That was probably a big moment at the time, and you look back on it like, wow, I did that. Or, you know, working with the likes of Sunny, and starting your own independent boutique label like Sincethe80s, and being an A&R Epic, like, it took some time for you to get to that point, but how do you continue to elevate and expand your career, even, you know, standing behind a company or representing a certain brand? Like, how do you continue to grow? I don't think that any of you have stopped since you started.
I say by keeping yourself relevant, I'm going to make sure, I'm just going to chase my dream. Like, I'm not really thinking about anything else. I'm not thinking about who's my next client. Someone's going to get styled, you're going to get styled. She right here, she going to get styled. Like, it's just, as long as you chase your dream, it's going to happen.
Yeah, and I want to add to that. First, when I started the business, like years ago, if someone had said, look, man, you're going to have records on Drake, you're going to have records on Beyonce, I was like, man, if I get that, I'm quit, I'm done. But guess what? I did that. Like, some of my clients have records on the biggest artists in the world. But guess what that means? New goals, right? So I set new goals because once you have certain goals and you attain them, you got to set new goals. You got to keep pushing, because if not, then you'll get old. You'll be that dusty guy that's like, oh, he did that, but what is he doing now? So you have to set new goals. You have to be a lifelong learner too. So like, I was telling Sammy backstage that I took this program, the executive program at Harvard last year. It's the Business of Entertainment, Media, and Sports. It's BEM. And so basically I learned how they think at Harvard. And I'm like, I'm always going to be elevating myself. I'm always reading trades. I'm always reading. So that's why I talk a lot, because I feel like I got a lot to share. So I'm always like reading and like trying to stay sharp, because I want to be prepared when that next opportunity, when that next producer, the next opportunity comes to me. I want to be able to maximize that, because I have to say, look, I can plug you in right now because I know what to do.
Right.
I mean, if you're not growing, then you die at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? Like, the most enjoyment of all this is seeing it grow, right? And it's like raising a kid, you know? That's why some people have multiple kids. The kids start getting older and they want to see the baby again, and so they can raise another one. I look at it like that. It's about growth. Everything's about growth. So as long as you keep seeing yourself growing, and you can keep growing, and that's like Rico said, that's really about just filling yourself with knowledge and understanding, like, and traveling and just seeing the world. And once you see it, it'll start taking you other places. You know what I'm saying? You'll start wanting other things. As far as in the music business, like, I don't ever feel like we're accomplishing anything. You know what I'm saying? I just never really look at anything like that. It's always like Rico says, one goal, then what's the next one? It's like you just keep trying to get higher and higher, and sometimes it's a bad thing because you don't really appreciate the things you've done, but at the same time, that's what keeps you hungry and growing. And as long as you're growing, like I said, you'll continue to be here. You'll continue to expand on what you have going on.
Yeah, I'm just going to touch on what Barry said. I mean, for me as an executive, that's just how I've operated. I've always wanted to learn more, wanted to learn different parts of the business. Even sitting here today, I never thought I would work at a record company. I didn't grow up saying, oh, I want to work at a record label. I just love music. Like everything is from the foundation of me having a genuine love of music. So, starting at BMI, and then, I did that for many years and felt like I had pretty much done as much as I could do there. Going from there into publishing and learning the publishing world at a major publishing company really, taught me a lot. And even going from there to the label side, I'm just open to continuing to learn and, just do everything that I can do and, just keep on growing. So that's kind of how you got to look at it. I mean, you don't want to be stagnant. You want to continue to grow and elevate and be open to new ideas and new challenges. If you don't feel like you're being challenged, like for me, if I don't feel like I'm being challenged, I feel miserable. Like it's a miserable feeling. It's like, man, like what else is there? So.
Yeah, that's actually a great transition, because I wanted to ask you, B. Wright, and everybody on the panel, just how do you feel about this generation or our generation's eagerness to move to the next situation, or the next company, the next position, while our parents or maybe our parents' generation were usually quite loyal to their companies for years? And I mean, granted, our circumstances are different, but what would you say to that? Do you think that that is a negative thing? Some people are like, you need to stay at the company for at least a year. Do you think that's a negative thing, or do you think that it's, a sign of growth, speaking to what you just said?
Well, I mean, I think it's different for music. I mean, because I was at BMI for 10 years, and everyone always said, wow, music business, that's like never happens. Like nobody stays on jobs that long in the music business. But I think then it goes to the fact that if you don't feel challenged, or it is what it is. Like your time somewhere is your time there, and I feel like once you're there and you feel like you've done what you can, you've accomplished what you can, and you feel good about it. It's all about how you feel. So if that's 1 year, if that's 2 years, that's 3 years, then that's what it is. I mean, that's how I feel.
Change is good, always good. You know what I'm saying? Like, depends on how rapid that change is. Then determines whether or not you're just hopping and whatever you're doing. But at the same time, it's like change ain't bad. It's just still about consistency and self-awareness at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? Like you jumping from job to job, it kind of shows that you're being inconsistent, or you can't hold your weight or hold your ground there. And I think a lot of the times we think if we go somewhere else, it's this whole little thing going on that everybody wants to be celebrated all the time. And honestly, y'all ain't did nothing to be celebrated for. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so it's kind of one of those type of things. Like, everybody thinks that, like, oh, if this is not working over here, that means there's something wrong over here instead of there's something wrong with me. Instead of, like I say, and that goes back to being self-aware. Like, you have to stick things out. You know what I'm saying? You get as much as you can out of it, and you know, if it change is needed, then you take the change.
I have one more question, and then we can open it up for the audience. So, bringing it back to social media presence, but then also just like the traditional grassroots marketing, like, you know, we still see flyers on Edgewood, we still see, you know, people handing out certain things. Well, within like the last couple of years, of course, like around major events like a A3C or South by Southwest, you're actually handing out things. You even spoke about handing out your business cards. So I want to know, how are either important to the success of your client or yourself? Like, when you're in a room, are you focused on like, hey, let me share my IG, or are you like more so like, is it face to face? Are you doing a lot of DMing people back and forth? Are you talking to them on social media? How does that work for you all?
Doing it all to get
Doing it all.
I'm emailing you, I'm emailing your manager, I'm emailing your hairstylist, I'm going up to you. I'm doing everything I can to make sure that I get what I want to.
He a beast mode, right?
I love it.
I remember being there. I'm not doing all that. That's just not happening no more. But I commend my man. I used to do the same thing. So,
I mean, even on the like side of representing your talent, like, or for, I know that Sincethe80s is a newer label, but in terms of like the marketing for behind it, y'all are very strategic in, you know, the way that you roll out your projects. Is there anything, is it mainly a social media presence push, or are you doing stuff like face to face? Do you find that to be beneficial?
I mean, everything is based on the client. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's all based on the client. It depends on, like I say, it depends on what clients you have. You know, sometimes it's, I started on grassroots marketing, you know what I'm saying? I started in the streets with everything. Everything to me is in the streets, you know what I'm saying? Like, word of mouth still travels more than anything. Even if it's on the internet, like somebody saw a video and they shared it, so that's word of mouth still, you know what I'm saying? Word of mouth is still the biggest form of promotions and marketing. You'll listen to something by somebody you trust and respect before you listen to somebody that you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just how the game goes. So I think all of it right now is intertwined with everything. You know what I'm saying? It's not one versus the other. It's, can you find something and strategically place the grassroots and the online and everything together to make a big splash, you know? Or it's like a sculpture, you know what I'm saying? Like, you keep chiseling away until you get that perfect picture. So that may take you, I don't know how long it takes to make a sculpture, we should figure that out, but sometimes.
That was quite poetic, is what we
Thank you.
analogy. What would you say to that, Rico?
To me, it's both. Like, but if you're an artist in here and you come into like, give me a demo, is probably not the best way to do it for me. Like Barry said, I have trusted sources. Like, but now if you want to like start this relationship, we'll start with like, I always have like an intern with me or an assistant. Like right now, if you want to like get to me right now, whoa, raise your hand. Just give the CD to Whoa, give his information. I'll give y'all his phone.
He want to raise his hand. Oh, raise your hand, my boy.
So like, cause just to be honest, like, so if it's like, if everyone here text me or DM me or like email me, I would not be able to handle the business of my clients. So imagine I do this like quite often. So I want to grow my network too, but I have to do it in a strategic way. So and the DM is not the best way for me. So I would say, like, you would go through a trusted source or a trusted channel, and I should be finding you. You should be making so much noise to be like, this guy gonna know who I am. He's gonna be like, oh man, I remember him from the AU Center. I remember her from the AU Who Got Next event. That's the best way to get my attention.
I listen to your music. I mean, but I think that shit sucks, so I'm gonna tell you though. But that's just my personal opinion though, you know what I'm saying? So you can't go off my personal opinion because I'm just one man. There's 9 billion people in the world. You know what I'm saying? But I think it sucks. Just be ready for me to tell you I think it sucks. Or don't ask me.
Right, I mean,
It's my opinion.
that's true. You heard you got anything?
I mean, not really. They pretty much wrapped it up. But I will say, for artists, like Rico said, I mean, a lot of people always want to go directly to the manager or to if you're an artist or if you're a producer going directly to the artist, but there's so many different ends who's on the team. Like, take a different approach.
Know the people back.
Yeah, know the background. Like when I was coming up, I would read the Source, the Power 30, all the movers and shakers, because if, you know, you just gotta do that. Like if somebody was sitting right there, like you don't know who's in the room. Like my man Jason from ASCAP right there.
Right there, big money.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, he said he had to give out some advances.
He said, ASCAP advances are on deck.
I'm sorry.
and so you have to, you know, make sure you know who all the power players are, because you never know, you might be in a position to introduce yourself or do anything. Like Rico said, you know, preparation, you know? So you don't want to miss an opportunity just because, oh, I didn't know who that was.
Yeah, I knew you had something. I don't see what you're talking about. So I just want to, you guys go ahead and prepare your questions, but just a few takeaways that I have is to take risks, be intentional with what you do post, and just everything. Be intentional with your wording and work ethic. Be consistent and invest and put in that sweat equity.
Bet on yourself.
Bet on
Don't be afraid
yourself.
to bet on yourself.
Tiger Woods
You
did.
never lost when you bet on yourself. You never lose. You don't win. It's an investment.
Facts.
Do we have a question?
So y'all give it up for these beautiful panelists and the moderator family. Once again, this is Off Day, No Day branding panel powered by AUCWhoGotNext. Make sure you follow us. Tomorrow we have Master the Keys producer panel, and we have 2 master classes, one with Sean Cotton, the founder of Sincethe80s TV, and the second one with Nigel Charles, songwriter behind Beyonce and Cardi B. Right now, we're taking questions. If we can limit it to only one question max, you guys can line them right here.
How y'all doing?
Good.
My name is Alex Philpott. I got a question for you, Rico Ruth. I just been wondering what you've been writing down this whole time. Is it like an advice?
Yeah, no, I'm an active reader. I'm an active learner, listener. So I actually been taking notes while I feel like if Barry said something, or a short pencil is better than a long memory, you know?
He's so poetic. Yeah.